live and Twitter streaming before they changed. Yes.
So we found a way of getting our live stream, our church stream on Twitter Spaces every Sunday. Did I do it myself? No. But I have a competent person on the team who led himself and said, you know what, I can crack this thing. My role is to lead the team, to encourage them, to charge them, and make sure that they get the work done and everybody wins. So a culture of continuous improvement, saying, what can we do better? You know, the other time we had this problem, how can we avoid it this time? That's how you change your organization. So number one, a culture of leadership. Number two, a culture of continuous improvement. Number three, a culture of continuous learning. Everyone in the workspace should be a student. Everyone should be reading something, learning something, teaching something to someone, because you don't want your mind to grow, I would say probably grow old. I don't know what other word to use.
Or to be locked in the things you know and not think about the things that you don't know.
To be locked into a certain way of thinking. And like I said last week, referring to you and muscles and going to the gym and working out, the brain is a muscle. So you always have to keep exercising it. That's why playing games exercises your mind. You know, I was having a conversation recently with some leaders, and one of our leaders, our pastor, was saying playing Matatu helped him think strategically and think quickly. Playing chess, if you introduce your children to chess, it helps them think strategically and think faster and make decisions quicker. So sometimes if you've not exposed yourself to that kind of thinking, you find yourself thinking slower, taking a long time to make decisions, and it just works against you.
Wow, you've talked about playing Matatus and playing cards. I was masterful at playing that. We even played for money.
Yes.
Now,
crossword puzzles.
Yes. Years down the road, that's how I was launched into my strategy as a strategist. We started to play this card. So when I went for training to be, a behavior change communication strategist, that's when I realized they started to bring matter to play, and we're playing points. And they said the one to reach 300 will be the one to win, or the one the lowest point to win.
Yes.
Trust me, it taught me so many things that I know today that I didn't know. Creative thinking and challenging my mind to always think. Jeremy, I want you to pick that book as we close the show. There's a book right behind you, written by you, called Man on Top. That is the work of a creative person. If you put that book, actually, you can see it from Jeremy's holding it. This is the writer of the book, Jeremy himself, and this book has been around for some time. Now, I want to ask you about this book, the design of this book. Let's start from the first of the book. Can you explain to us what was going in your mind and what creative processes did you go through to create this book that you later on sold to us? And I don't know how many people have bought the book and read the book, because that right there lies the answers to what we're saying, or the connectivity to the answers we're talking about, the discussion we're talking about here, saying how to foster creativity within an organization for business success. This was your business. You foster creativity to create these things, and you brought these things out. Can you please take us through that as we close the show?
Okay, thank you. So thank you. Man on Top really is a book about a young man growing up.
A young man, Jeremy Demans.
And lessons that I have learned and I'm still learning on the journey towards manhood. So this book is really a collection of those lessons. So the thinking behind the design is really about how can I make this book stand out on a shelf in a restock, and how can it get somebody to pick it up. And
that is attractiveness. That is attractive to me, and then I'll pick it.
So the idea, of course, the cover is a person, a young man, as you can see, with muscles and looking.
Can we have a wide shot so we can see this?
Looking also cool and everything. So this is really what the cover is about. But then the title of the book, Man on Top, is very controversial. Actually, my editor told me, Jeremy, there is no way you can call your book Man on Top. And I said, no, I'm actually going to call it Man on Top because I think I can sell it. I think I can sell it. And so the first task for me was to define Man on Top away from the definition it already has.
That we already know.
So for me, a man on top is a man that is faithful, dependable, and responsible.
Yeah.
So I began a campaign about saying you're a man on top, you're faithful, you're responsible, you're productive. Yeah. So every man has within them a desire to be those three things. To be faithful, to be productive, and to be responsible. So every person who thought they were faithful, responsible, and productive said to call themselves a man on top. You see, that was the idea in terms of the title. The cover really was purely about getting people to pick up the book, especially the ladies. I think it worked.
Let's talk about the back of the book. There's a man with a, before we go there, there's a man in front of the book, you have a guy wearing shades. Okay, so what was the concept behind a man wearing a shade? You know, in relation to, you know, the book itself. Why did you put a guy wearing shades?
First of all, other than the fact that it was a good image, I was really thinking about the future, where you are going as a young man, but also it needed to be somebody who is young and trendy and funky, you know, so that the younger people can pick up the book and see themselves in it. Every young man wants to be nice and cool and trendy and have some big muscles. Some of us think we have muscles, but until you take off your shirt, you know. But I think this model actually looks a bit like you.
Okay, let's talk about the back of the book. We're talking about fostering creativity for business success. I mean, Jeremy has an example and we have it here. Let's talk about the back of the book.
The back of the book really was, I just picked an excerpt of a comment that my pastor, who was the guy who wrote the foreword of the book, and put it there. Just information that can give people a quick snapshot of what is inside the book. But also because he's a very influential person, if he endorses the book, it's very possible that people will pick it up and say, oh, if he has endorsed this book, it must be really good. And then a little bit of a profile about myself. That's really.
And you didn't put the whole CV. Normally people put the whole CV of what you have done and all this stuff. That right there is what is a perfect definition of using fostering creativity within self, okay, within the work you are doing for success of this book. How many copies of these books have you sold, by the way?
Wow, I have sold about 900 copies.
Wow.
I originally printed 1,000. Then somebody told me, oh, I found a big market for you in one of these big churches in Kampala. Can you print more? And I went and printed 1,500, and that deal died. So I found myself with so many books. So one day I just made a decision to sell 3 books every day on Facebook.
Wow.
So I'd go to Facebook, look at my friends who are online, and just start to chat with them and say, hey, how are you? What? Have you read my book, Man on Top? No, I haven't. Hey, can I get a copy? Yes. Then I gave the stash of the books to a border man friend of mine in Kampala. So every time somebody would order a book, I'll just send him the name, the location, and the number.
And the border guy would deliver?
The border guy would deliver, and he would send me the money, and then I would pay him.
Wow.
That's how I was able to. But I still have about 600 books still in my stash at home.
Wow. So there you have it right there, talking to Jeremy Bemanzi. If you haven't read Jeremy's book, please make it a point to find a copy of this book and read it. We just wanted to